Thomas with GKS Lifting and Moving Solutions, and I'm here today with Jenny. She is the Taylor Family Foundation Continuing Education Scholarship recipient. Thank you for joining me today.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
So first, how did you hear about the scholarship program?
When I got laid off out of the oil field, I had already gotten a little bit of a taste of crane rigging and decided I wanted to go after that. So I started calling a bunch of different training facilities across the country and asking not only about their program, but do they have any funding that they're aware of, any scholarships, grants. And one of the admissions representatives over at CICB in Houston, Crane Inspection Certification Bureau, Camille Singletary, called me back and said, Jenny, I heard of this place called SC&RF. You ought to check them out. So I did, and I was awarded the June 30th deadline scholarship last year, and I attended their rigging signal person back in August.
That's great. Awesome. Happy for you.
I'm really happy.
That's great to see. That's continuing the education specifically as a female in this industry. That's awesome.
The fellows I work with, the operators and whatnot, I've had a lot of support.
That's awesome. That's exactly what you want to hear. Great.
Yep.
So what area of crane rigging transportation industry interests you most, do you think?
It is the rigging, and what had happened is when I was originally an RV maintenance person in a crane yard, and one of the perks was I could park my camper there and hook up to the facilities, and then I would maintain the RVs they housed the men in. So I got to see all the cranes in the yard and the operators working on them, and it kind of sparked my interest. And then I started just going out on crane move assists, and I saw the truck drivers rigging up the counterweights, and then somebody would grab a forklift to get the crane's pads off, and they're doing the truck driving to haul the counterweights. And so I said, this is something that really interests me, and I decided I kind of want to learn some more. Yeah. So I got out and I pitched in, and they worked with me, and the operators saw me wanting to learn. They already knew my work ethic from the crane yard, and so they really worked with me on it. And I did learn you also need to have the rough terrain telehandler certification. So I am an operator on that now, thanks to SC&RF. I've also learned that in construction, you would also want to include aerial boom lift. So thank you, SC&RF. I am a certified operator on an aerial boom lift. I got that training at Spartan Consulting and Training in Midland. They are phenomenal, female owned and operated business. Wonderful, wonderful training facility. I highly recommend them in the Midland area. And I also learned you will need a CDL. So I'm currently working on my CDL with the non-restricted manual transmission and air brakes endorsement. So
wow, that's awesome that you're very well educated with this. Yeah, you've long list of credentials.
I've had exposure to what I will need, and with COVID, I've now had the time to get that training. Yeah. And SC&RF, I've had the funding to get the training. Yeah. So it's coming together beautifully.
Yep, got to make the most of it. Yeah.
That's right.
So with that, what would you say first sparked an interest within this industry for you?
When I was doing the crane move assist, what my role in that was, it would take 4 people to move the crane. The crane operator drives the crane from one oil well to the next. And they took on a contract, this company did, that the operator would stay out for about 2 weeks at a time in the field, but move from one well to the next well every 2 to 3 days. So it took 4 people to move the crane, 2 haul truck drivers hauling the counterweights and the crane pads, the crane operator to drive the crane, and then somebody had to drive his personal truck and camper that he was staying in out in the field. That was me. So I'd ride out with the truck drivers and then sit in the truck and watch. And I was like, I don't want to sit in the truck and watch. I want to be out there helping. And that's when I got out, and I'm climbing around the cranes and up on the trucks and rigging up the counterweights. And I really enjoyed it. I get to work with my head, my hand, and my body. You know, it's a whole complete package. It suits me perfectly.
That's awesome. That's really great to hear. With that, what do you think your career goals continuing on with this, since you're still getting more certifications and everything?
So I'm preparing myself that if the oil field does come back, I'll be well equipped to go into the oil field and do crane rigging. But what I'd like to do, and what I anticipate is going to happen, is go into construction first. Oil field rigging is light exposure to all the different slings and shackles, and in the construction field, you're going to be working with chain falls and a variety of slings. And you really, I want to fine tune my craft work under advanced riggers and become a rigger. Right now I'm certified. I am not a rigger. I'm green, but if I get my foot in the door with all the certifications, then they'll see my work ethic. So I'm hireable,
Yep.
which is the next step is shortly coming.
Yeah. How would you say the scholarships have helped you get there exactly and get to your future goals?
Well, I did see what I needed to obtain, and it was, it's the crane rigging certification, the signal person certification, the rough terrain telehandler operator's license, the aerial boom lift license, and a CDL. SC&RF has, there's a wonderful board member, Jackie Roscoe's had, after I received my first grant, she wrote an email to me and said, you mentioned in your essays that there were other things you wanted to go after, and you can apply for one scholarship per grant period every other month. I have now received 3. So they have helped me 100% along the way, and with a lot of support also. She's been not just supportive in my career, but personally. We've been dealing with some challenges in Texas, and I thank you all for your support. But it's been a really, really good foundation to work with.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, SC&RF is super important within this industry. And that leads into my last question. So how crucial do you think organizations like the SC&RF are to work with and kind of partner with to close the skills gap in this country?
It's huge, because all that training a year ago today, I couldn't run a rough terrain telehandler. Now I can. I would not have gotten that training. They have provided that for me through Spartan in Midland, the aerial boom lift, to be able to work with all that rigging and understand what I'm doing and how to tie the proper knots and I mean, just all of that. Those skills, they are acquired skills. You must have them. And through SC&RF, I was able to acquire them and become certified.
That's great to hear.
That's my foot in the door.
Yeah, that's your foot in the door, exactly. Well,
right.
Those are all the questions I have for you today. Thank you so much for joining us. Really looking forward to see your future growth within this industry. It's great to see a female doing so well and really just working hard.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.